I honestly, like, this is what I live for. I love this. All of it is so worth it to me to be able to share in this experience with you. Are you guys ready? Because this segment I'm actually really excited about. There's some that I have some resistance to because it's going to be intense for all of us to move through. This one's going to be quite fun. So this is the core of intelligence. The core of intelligence. This is a concept that for me has come up during the process of writing my book. The process of writing a book in the last 3 months has been one of the most interesting experiences I think I've gone through as far as personal reflection and growth. It's triggered up a lot of things. And I had stored memories from 15, 20, even 30, maybe not 30, 25 years ago, that came up that some of them I didn't know existed through the time frame of writing this book, which led me into not depression, but really bummed, the most stress I've ever experienced, like couldn't shake it, was at a constant like edge. And that's not my normal move. And so I had to find something to pop me out of it. And so this is where this concept came from. So the core of intelligence. We have the ego, right? We've all heard of the ego. Do you know that the ego is not only responsible for how great you think you are, but it is also responsible for how terrible of a person you think you are? It is responsible for your insecurities. It's responsible for your self-doubt. It's responsible for the things that are holding you back. And it is also responsible for the reason I have the cojones to come up here and get on stage and do what I'm doing. So the ego in and of itself has this full breadth span of the role that it plays in your life and your own ascension. We cannot throw out the ego. And there's so much in New Age philosophy, and especially like right when I started on the path and started getting into more conscious-centered communities, which I quickly like backstepped out of. Like, these people are weird. But there is a lot with the ego. It's like, well, I just want to like let go of my ego. I just want my ego to not be a part of this. I'm just really trying to quiet my ego. Do not minimize your ego. Your ego is a key player in your human experience. It absolutely is. What is important is to become very conscious of your relationship to your ego, which is funny because it's your ego's relationship to itself. Right? It can be like a little bit of a Twilight Zone sort of experience. But the ego is what is going to help you accomplish what you want to accomplish, and it's also going to be responsible for what is holding you back from being able to do those things. This is what holds on to unworthiness, that feeling of being unloved or unlovable, the ego. So I went ahead and just went straight to the dictionary for some of these. Straight Merriam-Webster's. One of the three divisions of the psyche in psychoanalytic theory that serves as the organized conscious mediator between the person and reality, especially by functioning both in the perception and adaptation to reality. So what does that actually mean? It's funny to me because Merriam-Webster and psychoanalytic theories don't often take into consideration that the human psyche is not just made up of mind and body. That's why I stepped so far away from psychology, because even at Sonoma State, one of the most liberal colleges in the US, anything based on the spirit or dream analysis or anything was woo-woo. To which I am like, what in the heck? I hadn't even taken my meditation class. I hadn't even done any of that yet, but I was like, there's something really significant missing here. So this definition, by, I'd say like mainstream societal definition of the ego, doesn't take into consideration that there is a component here that fits in with this. that there's a component within yourself that when you really consciously can connect the spirit and the ego, your spirit and ego together, that something really, really beautiful happens. My spiritual drive, my spirit-centered drive to evoke change, there's a motivation that comes within me to do this, to sit with people, to sit in their pain, to sit in their trauma, to see them clearly, to love them for who they be, to see a different aspect, a potential in people that don't even see it within themselves. That is a gift that I have, is sniffing out potential from people who can't see it. And then unwrapping the package and being like, look at what you can do. Yes, that is one of my gifts. But with that, if I was all spirit-centered and if I was all just spirit-aligned, and I was, climbing to the top of mountains and traveling in India and Shanti, that's beautiful. But there's a progression of something that happens with my ego because I do like being the center of attention. I do like having a microphone attached to my ear. I do like these things. And for my whole life as a little girl, it was like, no, you're not supposed to want attention. You have to give attention to everybody else. No, that microphone isn't yours. Oh my gosh, you're such a ham. There was like a lot of shame around it for me. I had to uncover all of that and finally get out. For me, drinking was an ability for me to be like, bam, here I am, without worrying about what other people were thinking. So for me, it was another sort of release of being able to step out more fully. So the spirit aspect that is in connection with the ego, for me, what I just described to you was that my spirit has this drive and willingness to help. That there's this drive and willingness to motivate others, that there is something inside of me that just ticks and feels super fulfilled when I see and I experience a breakthrough with somebody that I too have helped to facilitate. I get a lot out of that. I personally get rewarded energetically just by the reciprocation. It feels really good to me. So that's the spirit. The ego likes the attention. So couple those together and put them here, and here we are at Become. That has been me giving myself permission to do what makes me feel really, really good. For me, giving myself permission to say, yes, I want that and I want more of it. That is my driving force. So I share that as an example for you that when you couple your ego, what is it that makes you feel good on the outside? What is it that makes you feel good even to other people? And being careful of, are you doing it for an image thing or are you doing it, for your own satisfaction? I don't think there's an issue here or there, because if you're doing it straight for image, eventually you're going to get to the point where you're like, wow, this really sucks. And you're going to learn that that's maybe not what you want to do. So there's that. But do whatever is feeling right for you in the moment, because it's going to lead you into the next step. But I can tell you right now, those feelings that you had, I would say between the ages of like the end of kindergarten, first grade to third grade, are where you're going to find the true essence of who you right now as an adult being are trying to become. It's this regression back into your childlike innocence of the things that you are naturally talented at, the things that you are naturally good at, that were trained out of you to follow directions. Go back to that person. Go back to that little version of you that you were, with the freedom to express and be and love and dig into it, because there's so much there for you still to relive first through third grade. A really playful, wonderful way. Like, who remembers their first crush? How could you ever forget? Like, that name is like, I will die with that name in my head. My parents probably will too, because I heard about him for quite a few years. But that energy that we get from that innocent affection, that really innocent admiration, that really innocent draw to somebody, that again is what we're looking for, right? We're looking for those connections that we're craving. And still, we tell ourselves that we can't, because when we either don't want to bother somebody, or there's rules around it, some self-inflicted rules that keep us from having these engagements with people that we are meant to step into and meant to cross paths with. So the spirit, that's part of it. The ego isn't so much developed in those years, right? That idea of who am I? What do I look like? What am I wearing? And unfortunately now I think we're seeing it younger and younger and younger with social media and all of that. It's like that childlike fun and innocence is almost like being taken away at a younger and younger and younger age for mainstream norm. Has anyone like been out lately and noticed everybody is like has the exact same makeup and the exact same hair and the exact same look? Like, where did they buy this cookie cutter? Facebook. Which is so funny because, I mean, I run my whole business on Facebook. It's great. But when we look at how one society is influencing the world now, can you also take a step back and objectively look at how society has influenced you? Even without social media, even without these other things. When was it that you started to feel like your essence started to dim? That you were told that you had to fit in, that you couldn't outshine, that you had to stay below a certain frequency in order to survive. Or you would be shamed, or you would be punished, or you would be judged, or you would be ridiculed, or you would be outcasted, that you wouldn't have any friends, possibly even with your family relations. Whatever it be, go back to those moments. Those moments are going to be what teaches you exactly who you were before all of these other things started influencing you. And it's not to say that these things have influenced you in a negative way, but this is the cycle, the spiral of growth that we go on. And sometimes it is important for us to go back and reflect and look at things, to not let the past define us, but to also, gather some information. Now, the flip to that coin is that the past doesn't have the information of where it is that you're going. Just want to be clear on that. The past has information of your innocence. The past has information of your memories, of your becoming, of who you are. But the past does not have your answers to what is to come. So if you're going into the past, like, well, I did that before, but it didn't work out. You're not the same person that you were when it didn't work out at all. You've had plenty of life experiences that have happened, even if it's been a week. One, let's say you have a minor failure. You try something, it doesn't work. You're like, oh, dang it. So what, do you not try it again because it's just going to not work? No, you shift something a little bit different, and then you try it again. You're like, success! I figured it out. If I stopped at every failure, I can guarantee you we wouldn't even be here in this room. When I say obstacles, there were a lot of obstacles. I'm really thankful that the booklets are here. That was a fun one yesterday, but we got them. So my point is to persevere, to keep going. To keep going, take a look at the role that your ego is playing, take a look at the role that your spirit is playing, and when you put them together, it becomes a really beautiful thing.
To learn more about my upcoming events, programs, and retreats, please visit samanthafe.com/revolution. I do wish you the very best that life has to offer, and please remember, we are in this together.